going to talk about the nature aspect here. My background, I'm more of a flood risk engineer in the university, so when I was asked to do this, it was like, well, I don't just look at this as flooding. Green space can do a lot more than just for flood risk, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I put this picture up here. I was looking for pictures last night of what, my view of the city is, and I had the Tyne Bridge on first, the typical one, but actually no, this is, I think, one of the nicest views. Everyone know where it is? Yeah, Jesmond Dean is, it's a lovely part of the city, and it's I think, one of our nicest green spots in the city there. So, yeah, how do we create a sustainable, resilient city? Well, when I was a child, I saw this, and that was the view of 2015 from Back to the Future. And we haven't got the hoverboard yet. We, there's a lot of things that we thought about that still haven't quite come yet. And, I kind of think to ourselves, well, but we have done a lot. I mean, Casper, you pointed out quite well some of the things. I'm quite amazed how far the mobile phones come in technology. So, we can do a lot, but I just thought this was quite a good starting point. It's like, we've got 3 more years to go. So, I'm going to talk a bit about the city and green space here. And I put this picture up to start with in 1945. And it's a part of the city that you probably all know quite well, but you probably won't know where it is quite now. Anyone? Any guesses there?
Newcastle Great Park?
Spot on. There it is in 2001. Well, the Great Park's not here yet. Does everyone know what the Great Park development is? Right back at Kingston Park here. So this is 2001, and the city has grown a lot since 1945 there. It's really spread out. Here's Gosford spreading north, Kingston Park. But the city is growing, and it has to grow. Well, the first thing we should do first is, build where we can do. Build in brownfield sites, do that, keep our green spaces pristine, they are good. But we have to expand, and it is expanding. And the Great Park is expanding. Here it comes 2005, the Sage coming in. I'm just going to fast forward to 2009 and stop here. And you can see this great wave using the power of Google. You can see a great wave of expansion there. But the focus I'm going to look into now is, well, we have to be careful with our new developments on how we do it. We need to have green space, because a lot of the people who live down here, who I've worked with, are quite wary of the Great Park development. They think, hold on, if you pour concrete on grassland, you're going to create flooding in my house. So, and there has been floods. 2005, there was a big flood down in Red House. I don't know if anyone knows the Red House area quite well. There's flooding down there. 2008, also flooding. And there's a perception if we build and don't manage our cities correctly, the green space, we could have flood risk problems. So Newcastle is actually a very good city for thinking about how do we develop more sustainably. And you can see these ponds, these lakes on here, these, and I'm going to chuck in probably the only acronym of the day, SUDS, Sustainable Drainage Systems, whereby we can manage water runoff better. And of course the Ousburn flowing through the middle of this. So, what do I mean by this? Well, we have to get better at making these work, more multi-purpose. So here we have some of the Ousburn and surface water flooding, and this is what new developments can look like. This is actually a flood channel, but it's actually a nice recreational area, green space. Down here, this is a pond for flood storage in front of the house, but actually it's creating a wetland, an amenity where children can go down, look at nature, interact with nature. But also this helps to clean up our urban streams are dirty. They always will be dirty. We have to have roads for our cities, this wash off our roads. But if we can put water into this, we can make our water cleaner. So that picture at the front, which lovely scene from Jesmond Dean, stays the same. So we have to work with these areas better. So I'll put this idea of work with quantity, quality and amenity all come together. And to do that, we have to effectively talk to each other and get institutes to talk to each other so the agency can talk to the communities. And I think how we make this happen, and it's already been touched on, is we talk to people and we get people talking together, and we have maybe local community champions to drive this. So I saw this on the BBC earlier this year, and I think it's a great title. Nature is worth billions to the UK.
Well, that's fabulous.
And the average cost of a green space is £300 per person per year for health benefits. It is good for health. Green spaces do make us feel better. Just slightly jumping ahead, but it's this idea of, you know, it's not just new developments. We can do things in our own house. I'll put up here solar panels on houses. A new type of, you know, well, it's been around a while, but it's better now. It actually works in Newcastle, where we don't have much sun. But it's this idea of, you know, doing things at the home scale. How can we manage? One of the problems we have is a lot of people say, well, you know, that new development's creating flood risk for me. Well, actually, a lot of people now, about 70% of the city has patio pavement in the backyard because it's easier to maintain. You don't have to cut patio grass or anything like that. But that's an impermeable surface. Every little bit like that contributes to more runoff in our rivers. So, final slide here. A sustainable city flood management. Well, I'll put this up for the students, so don't attack me being a Newcastle fan. But no, we don't have to go to this extreme. St James's Park could store a lot of water, but we could just start at the home. This is a starting point whereby we do rainwater harvesting. And actually a good example is where you are today. This building collects water, so when you flush the toilet, it's all brown water. And it's this idea of green space and water collection, I think will drive this more sustainable and resilient city.
Thank you. Although you've got half a bit left, a quick question.
Okay, Frances Hinton, Green Party. The thing I agreed with most in your talk was about patio paving, and I believe that for front driveways there are local strictures on that, but they are not enforced. I've checked with the council and there have been no enforcements. But what I would seriously question is the premise and the words sustainable development to be used for the current plan for 36,000 new homes. And specifically in Gosford there's a plan for 600 homes on prime greenbelt land.
Are you asking a question?
Yes, I'm questioning the premise and saying how do you justify that it's based on pre-2008 figures, when that was before we got into unemployment and there's not going to be that degree of growth.
So you have time for one sentence.
I think, yes, it's this idea, it's a tricky one, because I look at this as like, we do have to probably think new technology is more sustainable about how we do new housing, but it's a tricky one because the greenbelt land is under attack. I always like to think, start in the city first before you move out.
Sorry, again? Okay, so alas, time is up, but